Wow, it would be amazing if you can be productive all the time, but you know that is not the case, and you will definitely not feel all the time to be very productive and to do everything. I mean, if that's the case, you will just invent a new app every day, and you will invent a new fidget spinner or whatever. But the problem is that we need to discover our most productive hours during the entire day, because you will have those highs and lows, and how you feel during the day we really need to observe from realistic point of view and see what is going on. And at the end of this video I will also give you a link, and you will have this link in the description of this video, to download a calculator. It is absolutely free to download it, and with this calculator it will help you to understand when you work best, and so that you can actually structure your day efficiently around these periods of productive time. As I said, you will have those highs and lows. I know personally for myself, I'm the most productive during the morning times and around 8 or 9 p.m. It all depends from day to day, but usually in 90% of the cases, morning is my most productive part of the day. And I was thinking about this because I was not even thinking about when I'm productive during the day, but I was listening to Joe Rogan, and on Joe Rogan's podcast there was a extremely intelligent guest, and his name is Naval. And I love his quote. This is his quote from podcast, and it says, "The modern intellectual athlete is akin to a lion. You train hard, you sprint, then you rest. You reassess and reflect, then repeat." So what really struck me over here when he said this, he said that we are in sprint mode, then we need to rest and reflect about this situation so that we can go and sprint again. And this is very important. I was not thinking about this because when you reflect of the entire situation, so when, for example, you have one specific goal or some task that you need to complete for the entire day, maybe that task is a little bit bigger, so you need to break it down into smaller tasks. So you need to reflect on that and then just do in sprint modes to complete the entire task. So that's why I love his quote. I highly recommend you to watch the entire podcast. It's amazing, and I was on his website. I mean, he's an incredible guy. I mean, Naval's wisdom really transcends any specific industry or topic, and his concepts are about system thinking. I mean, constructing meaning and thriving in life in general. So how to determine optimal part of the day to work will be with that calculator, but also you can ask yourself a very simple two questions, and those are when during the day do I have the greatest amount of energy and concentration, and when do I have fewest interruptions and distractions. As I said, for me it is in the morning, because I have really less distractions during the morning times, and I can really focus on the most important things during the day. And keep in mind, you will hear about people who are waking up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. To get things done, and then they go to the gym straight away in the morning. If you have something that is more in higher priority than your body and how you look, then you should do those things that are far more important than that. But if your health is very important, that is your number one priority, then you should of course do that first if you're gonna procrastinate about these things. So all of this comes to something called ultradian cycles, and ultradian cycles are basically the patterns that were first noticed by a sleep researcher, which caused a mountain of research to be conducted in this area. And the research of this shows clearly the human body goes through cycles between 90 and 120 minutes. I have noticed that for myself, in about 90 minutes already I'm feeling just slightly down, but I'm just going through that because I was not even thinking about these cycles. So just going through that. So I was feeling those highs and lows, but now when I'm aware of that, I'm doing this already for quite some time, and I really like this concept. Throughout of each of these cycles, we are taking from unproductive time to productive peaks, and then we are repeated back into these cycles. So I have created this calculator that can help you out to find your highs and lows. And after a couple of weeks, my recommendation is to do this for 3 weeks. And after these 3 weeks, for example, you will know on what you need to focus on. And you will see this calculator is quite simple to use, and you just need to put simple information and that's it. I mean, while you're tracking your productivity for the first time, just stick to your normal routine. That's very important, because if you are now hyped up and you're doing this for 3 weeks, that is not your general or normal routine, then you will not have a proper results. And if you have a routine that is not like consistent, then just do it about 5 to 6 weeks at least, so that you are gonna have a little bit better results or more concrete results. So people who work with it instead of against your trading rhythm will perform better. I mean, when you go with the flow of your body, with your natural cycles, you will feel better and you will perform better. So right now I will go to this calculator, and after that we will start to plan everything so that you have everything inside of one video. So let's check it out. And here we are. This is the calculator. It's going to be very easy to use it. And the first thing that I need to mention is that I was inspired to create this kind of calculator because I have seen from Chris Bailey. He already created a calculator, but it looks a little bit messy, and there are some unnecessary data over here, so I have created my own, and I think honestly it looks a little bit more cleaner looking, so it's going to be easier to input all this data. So to cut the story short, the main thing is when you go to my blog post to see this calculator, and also from Chris, I will leave the link inside of the blog post to his one. But to this calculator, you will be able to use it. Just go on the link inside of my blog post. I will leave the link to the blog post in the description of this video. Just go to File and then just click on Make a Copy. After that, when you click OK, you will get a copy inside of your Google Doc. And now first thing that you need to do is just delete all this data, because what will happen, for example, if I just put my energy that is 10 over here, you can see that data it is changing as well to be the highest one. So I will just delete all of this just to show you an example for 2 days how this looks like. So for example, at 7 a.m., let's say that my energy is at 8, my focus is at 7, my motivation is at 6, and my creativity is at 4. And then on Tuesday, my energy is 9, and then my focus is at 6, my motivation is at 5, and my creativity is at 7. So when you put all this data, you will have a nice graph so that you're gonna have an overview, perfect overview, how you are feeling throughout the day. You can see this is for each hour, and I can put this from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. You can change these times if you want. And also, if you don't want to track, for example, creativity, you can just put something else over here, and let's put example, and then you can track example. Just change over here to be same thing, whatever you want to track. So maybe you can track how you were feeling, how much water have you drank from 1 to 10. If for example you drank 3 glasses of water, that is 10. If you didn't drink any glass of water, that is 1 or 0, or however you want to track, or whatever you want to track, you can put it over here and you will get an average for the entire week. When you complete the entire week, the only thing that you need to do is just go over here and click on duplicate, and then just rename it for the week 2. Delete the data so that you have a clean week, and after that track the week 2 and do the same thing for the week 3. After you have 3 weeks already, in the first or the second week already, you will have a proper data. You will notice your highs and lows and when you feel the most productive. As I said, this calculator is completely free. You can just go to my blog post and just download it. You don't need to put any email address or anything like that. It is, as I said, completely free to use. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully this is helpful, and you can put notes over here. I mean, I don't want to complicate too much around this, and we should not complicate about these things. We just want to know when we are the most productive, so that we know for sure for the next couple of months or for the next couple of years what exactly we need to do within our time period, for example in the morning, so that we can really execute the things that are very important to us. So I will now return back to the main part of the video so that I can elaborate a little bit about, or giving a little bit more clarity about planning your day. Now, after a couple of weeks, when you have all this data, you can plan your day. It's going to be far easier to plan your day based on the data that you now have, and match your highest priority work to your most productive hours. Of course, just remember that always. And to plan this, you need to use now all the data and block the time inside of your Google Calendar. So after that, you will have a proper priorities set up. And just think in terms of high energy, low energy, and relaxing energy or energy levels. And for high energy levels, it is of course your creative work or something that is difficult and very important for you. For low energy, it is something that is quite routine work, maintenance. So it is not something that, for example, that you can put cleaning part, or that you are doing some something that is not so important, that you can do partial in automatic mode to put it in your highest priority part of the day. Just remember that you don't want to use that time to something that is not so important. So really prioritize around these things, and you need to have this. A lot of people are ignoring, especially business owners are ignoring relaxing levels. So you need to have proper amount of sleep. You need to have at least 10 to 15 minutes of meditation, minimum 20 minutes. It is like good. 1 hour is ideal, but usually people think that 1 hour of meditation is a waste of time. But I will create a video about this. I'm doing meditation for 1 hour for quite a long time right now, and focus is a lot better. I mean, you're more objective, but I don't want to go outside of the main topic of this video. I will create specific video about meditation. So when you plan this, when you block this inside of your Google Calendar based on the data, how do you feel, then you can just optimize this. So just think in terms of 30 minutes versus 2 hours, because 30 minutes of creative work in a high energy level will be as effective as trying to do the same work in 2 hours when you have a lower amount of energy. So always think in terms of highs and lows, how you can utilize this time. And please remove distractions from your high energy times, especially emails and non-verbal communications. And the quality of your resting period is likely to influence the quality of your productive time. If you have, don't consider a relaxing time to scroll through social media feed. You can just reflect on the things that you have done, and or just completely relax. Just go take a walk for 15 to 20 minutes, but don't just mindlessly do something that is unproductive. And pay attention to what you are eating. A lot of people have this problem, and often your energy dips because of sugary unhealthy foods that spike your insulin or blood sugar levels. So definitely pay attention to that. You don't want those simple carbs inside of your system that after 20 minutes you will feel that crash, and you will definitely not feel productive after that. And also recharge. I mean, if you want, you can schedule a napping time, or you can just go on dancing class and go on yoga, do a meditation, go to the gym, whatever works for you, because you will have that low period of time that will last you about 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours. So use that amount of time for something that is not very important that you need to do, so that after that you will probably have a 1 or 2 peaks during the day or during the evening, when you can do a little bit more things. So recharge before you have that additional high at the end of the day. Probably you will have that. I know for myself, I have that, that's for sure. And when you know all of this, when you have all this data, when you plan all of this, you will be able to do more in less time. So probably this was helpful, but just leave me a comment below this video if you have some additional questions or you need some extra clarifications. And you will have extra info in the link in the description, where there is a link to the blog post where I will lay out a little bit more information about this specific topic. And over there you will have a link to the calculator as well. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this kind of content. I will strive to create this kind of proper and valuable content, because there is not a lot of content like this, because a lot of people are just talking about tactics, and this is more about philosophy and the way how we are thinking about productivity and how we can really be productive and happy and not run in circles. So wish you a wonderful day and talk to you soon. Cheers.